Good evening and welcome to my Friday night Not Quite Live. Each Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I come to you live on Facebook. And if I can't be live like tonight, I pre-record something so that I'm always here at 7:30 on Friday nights. And I hope you will join me. And I hope if you are watching right now that you will hit the share button to share it with your stamping friends. I hope you'll hit a thumbs up or a heart, something that tells me that you're engaging with tonight's video. And go ahead and leave a comment. Would love to know who you are, where you're from, and any comments that you would like to add. If you are watching on the YouTube replay, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Would love that. And give me a thumbs up. If you hit the little notification bell, that will tell you, give you a notification every time I have a new video. So we are going to be discussing, and I'll be demonstrating, the smoosh technique tonight. And that's had a lot of different names, I think, over the years. But basically, you're going to need something like wax paper, or maybe, remember those old school folders that were clear on both sides and joined by a little plastic binder? Something like that, something that's non-porous. You don't want your water or your ink to seep through. I have used the cheap dollar store wax paper. You don't want to use that. Even 2 layers of that, it soaks through. So you want to use something that is definitely non-porous and easy cleanup. It might be a little bit of a messy technique. You might end up with some blue fingernails like I did, but you can always wear gloves, or you can just be a little bit more careful than I am. Let's get started. We're going to make some beach-themed cards. I have put some waxed paper down on my table. I will say this wax paper is the very cheap dollar store wax paper. Do not get it. Pay for the good stuff, because this soaks through. It's not very waxy. However, it will work for our purposes today. Going to put on just a couple of drops, 3 or 4 of 3 different colors. I'm using Coastal Cabana and Bermuda Bay. And you'll notice as you're squeezing these, some of them seem thicker than others. It seems like the darker the ink, and this is Pacific Point, the thicker it kind of is. All right, there we go. Now you're going to take some water, and I have a water spritzer around here. And I've just put some water in it. I want to make sure I know where the nozzle is so I'm not spraying myself in the face. And you can see that as I'm adding the water, it's starting to spread. Now, I found that the first take of this is a little iffy sometimes, but you can put just a greeting over this after you're done the background, or do something else completely. But I'm just going to sort of touch it like that. And you can then you can set that aside if that's how you'd like it. Or you can get off some of this water so that it doesn't continue to spread. You can dip it again to get a more all over color. Again, I'm going to just take off some of the wet so that it doesn't pool around the edges and get all muddy. Just going to continue to do this until I have what I want. That's good for this one. Maybe a little bit more over here. My problem is sometimes I can't stop. And we're going to set this aside to dry. I mean, isn't that just a fun background? Leaving some of the white in there is just really adds to the interest. Now we can stamp over this, especially with our Stamparatus, using the Memento Tuxedo Black for a really bright, dark, deep black. You'd want to use maybe a word set that's got some big, bold letters on it. When you're setting this aside to dry, It is really best to just let it dry on its own. It will dry the flattest that way. So I would just set this aside like that. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to be doing some more spritzing, so I don't want to get that in the way. Let me just spritz a little bit more. And I don't know if you can see, I can already tell that it's kind of seeping through onto my table, which, whatever. I'm going to have to get a new one anyways, so. Up, I'm out on my spritzer, out of my water. I'm going to bring up my back up. Here I have another piece of shimmery white, and if I lay it all down and press it all out, rather than just the, bending it kind of on it, you can see the colors blend a little bit more. I'm kind of running out of ink here. I could have used some more. But you can see that you do get a couple of background bases out of at least one of these. And I'm just going to dab it again. I'm going to wipe this actually. Dab this again to stop the pooling of water. And we can make a background with that. Sometimes you can get several of these, and the more water you have, the more it runs together. Here's a couple that I've done before. So this had less water, so you get more blotchiness. This one, I had more water. I love this one. And in fact, I've got a couple of projects to show you with that. And then here's another one that I had done with those same colors. So let's make a project out of some of these. I'm going to begin with a base of Sahara Sand and the Sahara Sand ink pad as well. Bringing in the Friends Are Like Seashells set, I'm going to use the little dots here, which I think adds some texture to the sand that I'm about to make. And I'm just going to repeatedly stamp this. And you can stamp it as little or as much as you want. I happen to know a little bit about the design I'm going for. So I'm gonna make it a little higher in some places. All right, I caught an edge over there, and that's okay, it's gonna be covered up. I think that's gonna be good. What I wanna do is I wanna create a beach theme here. And so where the water meets the sand is always a special place. So we're gonna go ahead and take this piece right here. We're gonna be able to get more than one card out of it. I'm going to rip it. And I wanna rip, I'm keeping this piece. I wanna rip up the piece that I am taking away, because that leaves this exposed white edge. See how I don't have a white edge here? And I do have one here. This is going to give the illusion of another layer. That's gonna go onto this card base. And I can see that I probably need a few more speckles of sand in there, or not, it's fine, I think. I'm going to go ahead and lay that down with some glue. Now I've chosen on this particular one to make this water layer the same size as my card base as far as width goes. You don't have to, and I'll show you my first one where I didn't do that. Do you see how it just looks like the sea foam is right here at the edge? So pretty, so pretty. This is not exactly how the water in Maine looks, but it is how the water in other areas look. I'm going to take a greeting. I'm going to take the Friends Are Like Seashells. You collect them along the way. And I think I will bring in, I have a choice of bringing in my Pacific Point or my Night of Navy. let's go ahead and bring in Pacific Point. We'll ink that up. Let's stamp that right there. Now the sentiment references seashells. So I'm going to bring in this little seashell from the Friends Are Like Seashells stamp set. And let's see, I've already got that on here. I'm going to grab a piece of Very Vanilla. So this is just a scrap of Very Vanilla. I don't throw away scraps that are definitely this size or greater because there are lots of little images or sentiments that will fit on it nicely. I'm going to bring in my Sahara Sand ink pad again, and I'm going to stamp multiple shells on here. And maybe some come out like I don't want, so I'll stamp actually extras. Now I'm going to bring in a couple of Stampin Blends, and for this I have chosen the light balmy blue and the dark and light petal pink. I'm just going to come in with the fine tip end here and color those in. I don't want them all to be the same, but I'm going to start with this layer of light petal pink on all of them. Just going to be using 3 for my project, so I'll take the best 3, or the 3 I like the best, I should say. And we're just going to come in with this darker color, just add some depth here. And you can see I'm really not spending a lot of time. Come back in and blend this out a little bit. So we don't have on some of these that have the harsh edges. We don't have the harsh edges. Remember, it does lighten a little bit as it dries. I'll bring in this blue because you will often see some hints of blue. You know, it's multiple colors that you see in here, right? Just put in a little bit here. And some I'll color more, and some will be more just dotted. I'll put this one just down here. This is a little bit dark for me right now. It does lighten up, so I have to be a little bit careful. See, this one I really, really like. Some of these are a little bit too dark. I'm going to just bring in my color lifter. Lift some of that color. Just a couple of places. All right, that's good. We're going to do something else to those seashells in the end, but I need to make sure that they are on my card first before I do that. Now, this one does have a die that will cut it out. So in the Friends Are Like Seashells, you get the stamps, but it also has a coordinating die set, Seaside Seashells. Makes this really, really great piece. And you can see, here's a card that I made, wishing you the very best. The background is one of those full backgrounds that I had previously done, just like the one we just cut up. And this was just done with the pearlescent paper, so really quick and easy. It also comes with an embossing folder. So on this particular card, once I had die cut, I ran it through the embossing folder to emboss those pieces. So the folder is called Seashells 3D embossing folder. All right, while there is a die, as I was saying, I'm actually going to fussy cut this because the die does leave a bit of a border, and I don't want, and that's just personal preference right now, I don't want a border. Even if it's little. I'm trying for right around the shell. Okay, I'm going to use these 3 shells, and I want to give them a little bit of dimension. I'm going to take my bone folder and just curl them under a bit. We are going to apply these with a Stampin' Dimensional, but it's going to be a mini one because I want these edges to come down onto the cardstock itself, giving the illusion that these are 3D. So I don't have any minis at hand. I think they're all packed away from my event this weekend. What I'm gonna do is just take some of these edges and make my own little minis. Just tiny ones. That might even be a little bit too big actually for what I want. There we go. I'll put these right on there. And so the edges kind of slope down. Right, and I want a tiny piece of dimensional in here. I'm going to use this tiny one that I cut off. If I can get it off my fingers. There we go. You can also use some glue. Use some glue dots. And one more little piece here. If you go too little, you do run the risk of them kind of coming off the page. Now the only thing I want to add here is I'm going to take my Wink of Stella over the top just to give them some nice shine. It'll mimic the shine that you see in the, see, I think this one, it's sticking okay, but it wobbles a lot. It mimics the shine that is in the shimmery white paper. And there you have a great little card to give to a friend this summer. So I mentioned that, so here's another one. I kind of like it with a little bit more of the white in there. And it's a little bit lighter, but I mentioned you could leave a border. So it's just 2 different looks, but same basic idea. And this one was stamped in basic black or the Memento black, and I definitely prefer it in a blue. So either Night of Navy or the Pacific Point is what I would suggest. But there we go, fun summer cards. Almost forgot, we need to decorate the inside, don't we? And that can be as simple as taking your Sahara Sand, taking your little seashell, varying the position with which you stamp it down the left-hand side of the card. I am just picking it up and turning it each time I stamp. And close that up. Put a little bit. See, I had done it at first, and then I thought, oh, wait, I should really do this on camera. So I did. It's not because there's anything wrong with that side. It's that I wanted to show you and did not have my camera recording. So just a nice little note card. I have a craft fair coming up at the end of the month, and I think this would make a great card for visitors in Wells to send to friends back home. Wish you were here kind of thing. Or, haha, I'm here and you're not. Kind of depends on what kind of friend you are. But that's my summer card. Thank you again for joining me tonight. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. It will be up on my blog, stamperhood.com, right now, actually, because it was recorded in advance. I've already processed it as I need to. So you can get more information over there. Also, we are in the middle of celebration, and Remember, anything in that celebration brochure is while supplies last. So when you are thinking about how you're planning your orders during July and August, the celebration months, you want to prioritize. Things will sell out. In fact, the Seafoam and Pool Party note cards and envelopes have already sold out. So if that was on your wish list, I am so sorry. There are some great things still left in that celebration brochure, so make sure that you are ordering the things that you have to have first. And if you have any other questions about celebration or the mini catalog, both of which can be found on my blog in the left-hand column, I'd be happy to answer them for you. If you don't have a demonstrator and would like a copy of one of those catalogs or brochures or even the annual catalog, I'd be happy to send you one. Just let me know. You can email me at stamperhood@gmail.com. Have a great rest of your Friday night. I am really looking forward to tomorrow morning where I'm going to have my Christmas in July Bunko event. I'm so excited. That's going to be so much fun. I hope you'll be able to join me next time if you are local. Have a good weekend, everyone.